After listening to chapter 5 and 6, carefully read the review before listening to the next chapter. It's important information that you will need for the AR test. Review of chapters 5 and 6 of Poppy by Avi. The main characters in these chapters are Poppy, Lungwort, Sweet Cicely, Basil, and Mr. Oacax. Chapter 5. Lungwort worked on his speech, and many mice sewed a white flag to carry when going to visit Mr. Oacax, so he'd know the mice were coming to talk. Poppy was nervous that Mr. Oacax would recognize her and spoke to Basil about it. Sweet Cicely told her daughter to be respectful to Mr. Oacax. The whole family gathered to see off Lungwort and Poppy, whose job was to carry the flag. It was heavy, but she did her best. On the long walk to Mr. Oacax's tree, it began to rain heavily. When they finally reached his tree, they were soaked and scared. Poppy noticed how scared her father seemed to be. When they finally arrived at the base of his tree, Poppy noticed Mr. Oacax's head feathers were sticking up, and he looked like the devil. Chapter 6. The first thing Poppy noticed at the base of the tree was a huge pile of owl pellets. I'd like to explain to you, boys and girls, owl pellets are not owl poop. These are oval-shaped mounds that an owl spits up out of their mouths. They contain all of the fur and bones of the animals they eat. Those parts don't do the owl any good, so he throws them up. The guts and meat of the animals is what gives the owl the nutrition that he needs. You will have the opportunity to virtually dissect an owl pellet, and like a scientist can discover the kind of animal that particular owl ate. We will do this after we finish the book. At first, Oacax didn't notice Poppy and told Lungwort to get on with his request. Lungwort started reading his speech, telling him that some of his family wanted to move to Newhouse. As soon as Oacax heard the words Newhouse, Poppy noticed that his voice sounded different and strange. The owl noticed Poppy and asked Lungwort about her. He then introduced Poppy to Oacax, who said in disgust that they had already met. He also asked Poppy where she got the scratch on her nose. Oacax asked Lungwort if he had actually ever been to Newhouse, and Lungwort said no. Oacax got very mad and said, "I refuse you permission to go there. My answer is no." Lungwort was so upset he kept babbling. Poppy tried to get her father to move and go home, but he was so shocked by Oacax's refusal, he couldn't move. When he finally started to walk away, the owl yelled to him, "I've spotted a new porcupine around Dimwood, and he's particularly vicious. But don't worry, I'll protect you. And also, ask your daughter how she and I met before, and that's the reason for my refusal. She didn't ask permission to go to the hill, and that's why you can't go to Newhouse." Poppy had found Ragweed's earring in the pellet and hid it in her hand.